So that night he was like coming back from the hospital. He didn't feel a whole lot of pain just because they had him hopped up on medicine and the adrenaline was still kicking in.
I mean, most people think that when you get shot, you just kind of, like in movies, someone will get shot and you just walk it off and in the next scene they're fine.
From that point until like waking up the next day, I didn't really think it would be a big deal.
It was Wednesday, June 21st. Me and my roommate decided to walk through downtown Tallahassee where they have this park. We walked through campus all the way to the end of the park. That went off without a hitch. On the way back toward the end of the park where the public library is, I hear a voice coming from the library and he asked me for a lighter. So I told the guy, no, I don't have a lighter. And then he quickly followed up with, do you have change for a 20? I told him, look man, I'm sorry, I don't have cash. So I pulled out my wallet because I was confident I didn't have any cash in it, and I was mistaken. I saw that I did have cash, and at that moment I realized, like, this cash is gone, he's gonna take it from me. When he sees the cash, he quickly approaches. I remember him just approaching, and then I heard a gunshot before I actually saw the gun. At that point, I fell back because I had lost control of my leg, and as I was falling back, I just yelled instinctively, like, why did you shoot? And I had the wallet with the cash kind of sticking out, and he just kind of hovered over me, took the cash, and ran off. I tried to get up, I stumbled, so my roommate pulled me off onto this patch of grass near the sidewalk. I do remember though, when I first got on the grass, I started looking around to see where I had been shot, and I found the wound at the thigh, and I started freaking out because A, I couldn't find where it came out. I thought the bullet got stuck in there, and B, it was bleeding, so I thought, oh, this hit a major artery, so I'm gonna die. This is the end. That sticks out to me as, it's just the moment I remember the most from the night for some reason.
When the whole thing happened, we had taken a selfie in the hospital room and everyone was like smiling, holding their thumbs up or anything like that. And then we captioned it like, oh, like Danny just got shot, no big deal. No one else really knew how, how problematic it was for him. He would give like some updates to them, and I think got an idea how much pain he was in, but they just didn't know the details and how much like mentally it was exhausting on him.
I had never experienced an injury like this before. Was that it got progressively worse for around a week and a half. At around a week and a half, the pain peaked, and it got so bad that I went back to the hospital just to make sure that nothing was wrong. But from that point where the pain peaked until I'd say the end of 2 months after I got shot, I was just in excruciating pain. And it was almost torturous. I couldn't sleep, and when I did sleep, it was 40-minute periods at a time where I'd kind of doze off, wake up 40 minutes later because of pain, and try to get back to sleep. And that really takes a toll on you when you're not able to sleep for almost 2 months straight. I firmly believe that nobody should have the right to use lethal force on anybody else, and any instrument or weapon that allows someone to do that, I think, is just impermissible.
He wouldn't have been legally able to obtain a gun anyway. So the fact that he was even illegally just kind of shows that in some instances, like really heavy gun control won't work. That being said, I really don't feel like assault rifles or anything like that should be allowed, because that's a huge capacity to kill in such a short amount of time. I think that's terrifying. Obviously, after being shot, it changed my perspective, mainly in regards to shootings, which have been a lot more frequent. I look more now at those that are injured. I mean, you hear death counts, and even before I was shot, I would listen, oh, how many people died during this shooting? But even just an injury, a gun violence injury, can alter someone for the rest of their lives. It was exhausting on him, but when he came back in the fall semester, he had planned to coach the team, so like he was getting set to do that. The team was actually getting ready to go into full gear. I don't think they really knew how much that he wanted to be here. When I got back and started coaching, watching my teammates run around and play, and me not being able to practice with them was pretty tough. You just kind of want to get out there and do it like you were used to, or like I was used to. I mean, of course he wasn't able to full-time coach in the fall, but when he did travel to tournaments with us, he would act as the coach for the games. Like he would stand on the sidelines and he'd shout like, hey, do this, hey, do that. And he brought a lot of energy to the field, I feel like. When he was able to return in the spring as a full-time coach, he kind of brought that energy to practice, and it was just very nice to see. Before I took over as coach this year, our team was
if not a laughingstock, definitely a team that was not respected in the region. And this year, it's almost been like a complete 180. By being able to focus on each individual player and build, instead of just a collection of all-stars, an actual team, we've been able to take our team to A nationals, and we were predicted to win our regional tournament, which is something that has been unheard of. Like, nobody would have ever guessed that FSU would be a contender even for that title. And it's honestly just been such a spectacular turnaround. I thought that after I had been shot, my time with Quidditch would be over and there would be no way that I could contribute, but I found that after being shot, the success feels more like my own because the team's whole dynamic comes from what I've orchestrated rather than just my individual spot on the field. Now it feels like I've created a team rather than just, contributed to success as one player.